Hey guys, it's CL, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I make brand new Critical Role recaps every Monday at noon, and would be happy to have you join the party. That's right, I'm moving to Mondays in order to try and avoid spoilers for those who watch episodes on YouTube. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe, and hit the Bertrand bell to be notified of future videos. There will be spoilers for the entirety of Campaign 2, and then probably some spoilers for Campaign 1 and 3 as well, so if you don't want to be spoiled, bow out now. A quick disclaimer before we begin. I love every single one of these characters, and just because they aren't in the top spot doesn't mean they aren't amazing or valid as your favorites. I will be making my decision based on character growth, their personality, and the overall story this time instead of trying to incorporate their builds. I feel like now that we have a full campaign done with these characters, it's just better to go based on them than their class. So, let's get into it. Number 8. Caduceus Clay. Caduceus is a character I liked immediately. I loved Talison's idea of what a high wisdom, low intelligence character would be like. He's chill, kind, and the only reason he's so low is sometimes I wondered, why the heck are you with these nincompoops? I think Cad is wonderful, and he was just sort of sidelined for a lot of it. He did shine when he got the chance and shared the odd pearl of wisdom, but his story was wrapped up a little quickly for my taste, and I guess when you're an unproblematic king, problems just sort of work themselves out, I guess. Also, 10 out of 10 for our first ace representation. It's really cool to see people in the Exandria world that are just like here. There's a little bit of everyone around. Number 7. Ford Stone. This list is really hard to make, you guys. Ford's story is super well-rounded. You watch him grow from a self-conscious pawn of a deep sea monster to a very caring and courageous warrior of the Wild Mother. I'm really proud of Travis for what he did with this character. He wasn't afraid to take risks, like sleeping with Avantika or putting one of the cloven crystals in place. He even forayed into his first romance with Jester, a flavor we heavily experience now with Chetney. I like that we even had some closure towards the end, when the ghost Avantika version comes back. So through high tides and changing accents, Ford will always be my favorite captain. It was really cool to see the progression of a character losing its class and then gaining a new one. I thought he did it masterfully. Number 6. Molly Mock Tealeaf. Here's my thing with Molly. I loved his entire dynamic in the short period of time that we had them. Molly pushes limits and broke a lot of firsts for the show, including being the first player character to die, and also became the first PC to go good guy to bad guy. He's a monumentous pinnacle. And he's just low on this list because, as his second arc as a villain, he was technically played by the DM, so I don't really want to count that in this ranking. But I do love his whole story. From Lucian to Molly, and finally landing on Kingsley, it's nice, even though we didn't get the full campaign experience with him that I wanted. Number 5. Yasha Nidoran. Or Nidoran? I don't know, I just fucking love Yasha. Her dry sense of humor cracks me up, not to mention her demeanor as the tall scary one is just a facade, and she's one of the softest members of the Mighty Nein. She's protective and stoic, and overall just a different beast compared to Ashley's previous character. My only complaint with Yasha's arc is that she didn't get the one I wanted at the end. We had some beautiful moments such as her flower reveal or when she finally regained her wings and broke from her sadness and guilt at losing her wife Zuala. But we were building to her revisiting the grave of her passed-on wife, and I just felt like it should have been more than just a tidbit in her epilogue piece. I felt there was so much juicy meat there, it was just a missed opportunity. Number 4. Caleb Widowgast. I had no idea this stinky and secretive wizard boy would grow to become one of my favorites by the end of this campaign. It was really amazing to watch Liam sink his teeth into something that he could provide deep detail and texture to. It was cool seeing what someone like Liam could do now that they knew how D&D worked and what was possible through character creation. I feel like Caleb had one of the prime narratives throughout the story, and I enjoyed every bit that was losing his parents his toxic relationship with Trent Ickathon and his fellow students, and his sad yearning for our blue tiefling friend. I think he just knocked it out of the park. Number 3. Beauregard Lionette. I believe Beau had the biggest transitional phase throughout the second campaign, maybe even all campaigns. The moment she was introduced at the table, I was immediately in love with her trying hard to not try hard personality, and watching her grow close with individuals around her, as well as come face to face with traumas that I wish no one had to go through in fantasy or real world, really cemented her as a top tier player character for me. I've said it before and I will say it again, Marisha is the best actor at the table. Whichever character she's playing, she disappears into the role wholeheartedly. And it's refreshing every time a new facet of her Marisha-ness comes out. Number 2. Vethrenato. Can I get a slow clap here? The way Sam Riegel managed to tell an eloquent and beautiful story, with Liam only saying, "You're gonna play a goblin rogue," is just so masterful and off-putting. I worry for the kind of twists we may see in the future with his new characters. From her crackly voice, all of the foreshadowing of Nott's fear of water and loathing of goblins, to the anagram of her name, it's just so clever. I loved seeing the relationship between her and her son and husband as she tracked them down again after he was taken, and watching her come into her own, not only as a mother, but to slowly accept whether or not she was okay to be a goblin the rest of her life, whether she really wanted to go back to be a halfling. It was so beautiful, and I loved the whole weaving of body image throughout her storyline. It was glorious. Number 1. Jester Lavore. I think you all should have seen this coming. Of course, my favorite is the donut-loving, boy-crazy, pink-obsessive tiefling that is Jester. Jester felt like a complete 180 from what Laura did with Vex. And it was so refreshing to have someone as the agent of chaos in the group with such an optimistic and childish demeanor. With the callback to Artagan being her god the Traveler from Campaign 1, and seeing her develop this crush on Ford just because Laura said she was going to force Travis into romance RP is a marvel. I think the actual reason she stands out on top for me is not her infectious accent or hilarious message spells, though they do help, but the fact that I always wonder what Jester would do in situations presented to the Bell's Hells. I can't help but think she'd make some pretty sick fart jokes at the Shade Mother's expense down in the mines of Drusar. I love her, and she's probably my favorite. I don't know, that's really hard to say. But I think she might be my favorite character ever introduced in the Critical Role fandom. But there are a lot of great ones, so I want to hear what your guys' rankings are in the comments below. Don't forget to check out my recaps of Campaign 3, now every Monday at noon, and don't forget to like and subscribe and check out my music on Spotify or wherever you listen to your stuffs at. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there. Good day, my friends.